All right, let's be real for a second. Provider manuals are dense. We all know it. They can be hundreds of pages long. But somewhere in there are the details that actually matter, the rules that decide how you get paid and how you help your patients. So, for all you busy mental health clinicians out there in Colorado, we've boiled it all down. Think of this as your cheat sheet for the Anthem Provider Manual, focusing only on the essentials you need to run your practice.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why this manual is so important in the first place. Then we'll jump right into patient access standards. This is a huge one for behavioral health. After that, we get into the nitty-gritty, claims and billing. We'll untangle the whole dispute and appeals process, and then we'll wrap up by showing you the digital tools that can seriously make your life easier. Okay, so the official source for everything we're talking about is the Anthem Colorado Provider and Facility Manual. Now, our goal here isn't to read you the whole thing, of course. It's to cut through the noise. We're zeroing in on the policies and procedures that really matter to you day in and day out, whether you're a psychiatrist, a therapist, or a clinical social worker.
Now, pay close attention here, because this is probably the most important slide of all. This manual, it's not just a set of friendly suggestions. It's a core part of your contract with Anthem. The manual says it right there. Your agreement requires you to comply with these policies. And if you don't, it can lead to denied payments. So knowing these rules isn't just good practice, it's absolutely vital for the financial health of your clinic. All right, let's jump into our first big topic, patient access standards. This is one of the most closely watched parts of network performance, and it's especially critical in behavioral health, where getting timely care can make all the difference. These aren't just best practices. They are specific, auditable requirements that Anthem is looking at. So here they are, the timeframes Anthem expects. An emergency, of course, has to be immediate. A non-life-threatening emergent situation, you've got a 6-hour window. Urgent care is within 24 hours. And then look at routine appointments, both for new patients and follow-ups, that's within 7 calendar days. And pay attention to that last one. A follow-up after a hospital discharge also falls into that same 7-day window. That's a big one. In fact, let's just pull that number out because it is so incredibly important. 7 days. That follow-up appointment after someone leaves an inpatient psychiatric stay is a crucial moment. It's key for preventing readmission and making sure that patient stays on track. Anthem tracks this metric very, very closely. So your scheduling process really needs to be able to hit that 7-day turnaround. You know, access isn't just about time. It's also about distance. Anthem has these mileage standards to make sure members can actually get to a provider. So you can see here, for the main mental health specialties, if you're in a big metro area like Denver, a patient needs to be able to find a provider within 10 miles. And as you move out into more rural parts of Colorado, that distance gets bigger. This is literally how Anthem measures whether its network is adequate or not. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the side of things that keeps the lights on: claims and billing. Honestly, getting this right the first time is the single best way to keep your cash flow steady and stop your staff from spending hours on the phone chasing down payments. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually avoid those frustrating, common mistakes that just lead to denials? Well, it usually comes down to just getting a few key details right from the very beginning. Here are some of the top tips pulled right from the manual for getting your claims paid. First, and this sounds basic, but it's a huge cause of denials, always verify eligibility before the appointment. Second, if you administer any drugs in your office, that NDC information is mandatory. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Third, if you use a not otherwise classified code, you have to include a description. And finally, learn your correction codes. Use code 7 for a replacement claim and code 8 to void a claim you sent by mistake. I really want to double down on this one for all you psychiatrists and psychiatric nurse practitioners. When you're billing with a J code, or for any other drug you administer in the office, that national drug code, the NDC, is not optional. It's required. Claims that don't have it will just get denied, plain and simple. So what is an NDC anyway? Just think of it like a universal barcode for a specific drug. It's a unique 11-digit number. The first part tells you who the manufacturer is, the second part identifies the drug's strength and dosage, and the last part tells you the package size. Now, here's where people get tripped up all the time: formatting. The NDC on the drug's packaging might not be in the 11-digit format you need for billing. It has to be in a 542 structure. This table right here is your cheat sheet. It shows you exactly where to add those leading zeros to build the correct 11-digit code. This is a great one to bookmark for your billing staff. And where does this thing actually go? This shows you exactly. For a standard professional claim, the CMS 1500, the full 11-digit NDC goes right there in the shaded area of Box 24A. If you're using a facility claim form, a UB04, it goes in locator Box 43. Just getting the right info in the right box is half the battle. But what happens when you do everything right and you still get a payment decision that you just don't agree with? Well, that's where understanding the dispute and appeals process is so important. It gives you a clear path forward to resolve these issues. Let's look at how this works. Your first step isn't to file some big appeal. It's just an inquiry, a simple question to find out why a claim was paid the way it was. If you figure out you made a mistake, then your next step is to submit a corrected claim. It's only after those steps, if you still fundamentally disagree with the decision, that you move on to filing a formal claim payment dispute. Knowing this order saves a ton of time and effort. All right, to wrap things up, let's look at the best way to manage all of this stuff. Anthem has really put a lot into its digital tools, mainly through the Availity portal, and they're designed to make all these administrative headaches a lot faster and a lot more transparent.
You should really think of this portal as your practice's command center. You can check a member's eligibility in real time, which helps stop those denials right at the front door. You can submit your claims and check their status anytime you want. You can handle prior authorizations through the interactive care reviewer instead of playing phone tag. The Chat with Payer feature is a game changer for getting quick answers. You can even use tools like Patient 360 to get a bigger clinical picture of your patient. Seriously, leaning into these tools will make your practice so much more efficient.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from patient access times to the fine print on NDC codes. The question I want to leave you with is this. Looking back at everything we just went over, what's the one tip, whether it's a billing trick, a digital tool, or a compliance check, that you can put into action to make your practice run just a little bit smoother starting tomorrow?